Thanks for watching our last summer webinar as part of the Journey of Discovery. This recording has been done after the fact of the webinar, so what you will see is just the exerted presentation. We'll also be sharing some of the results of the polls that we ran during the Maestro conference, but the breakout discussion groups are not covered in the course of this presentation. This webinar is focused on the future of real estate referrals. My name is Adam Lerner, and I was also joined by my colleague Monique Morden in presenting these research results. We opened with a poll question asking whether over the next 5 years participants thought traditional word-of-mouth referrals for realtors would increase, decrease, or remain unchanged, defining traditional word-of-mouth referrals as a person soliciting another person for a referral. 42% of the people thought it would increase, 29% thought decrease, and 29% thought it might remain unchanged. So it's interesting to now revisit these results in hindsight given some of the other polls, which you will see shortly. The future of real estate referrals is one of 5 significant forces of industry change that we have identified during Journey of Discovery research. For those who are unfamiliar with BCREA's Journey of Discovery, we are nearing the end of a year-long process to build data on the future of the realtor over the next 5 years. The goal is to use that data in BCREA's upcoming strategic plan this fall to determine how organized real estate can support a more sustainable and thriving industry for BC realtors, brokers, and organized real estate. With that intro, let's turn to our topic of referrals. We think this topic matters a great deal to all realtors. Referrals remain the dominant source of new leads for realtors. This is not to say they are the only lead for realtors, but we know that the largest percentage of leads actually come through referrals. Even minor declines in referrals would hit hard. On the one hand, there's the symbolic nature of the change. Realtors almost ubiquitously list the client relationship as one of their greatest points of value, and referrals are one of the primary measures of the value of those relationships. There's also the practical sales value of referrals. As we will later describe, referred clients typically have a higher profitability than those acquired by other means. In order to provide a rich understanding of the changes happening in realtor referrals, we couldn't just rely on secondary research sources from other boards, our National Association, CREA, or even from the US. While those reports were showing a changing environment of referrals, we saw a great need for new quantitative research that identified the referral practices of millennials. So we conducted an online survey with BC residents age 18 to 34, ensuring a balanced sample was drawn based on Stats Canada data on age, gender, region, and income in British Columbia. Why focus on millennials, you might ask? For one, the Journey of Discovery is focused on the future practice of the realtor. Millennials will become increasingly prominent in the market as first and second-time buyers and sellers. Second, there is significant evidence that millennials have different behaviors and expectations than the other generations of buyers and sellers. This presentation will combine our primary research with secondary sources to create a rich picture of the changing nature of realtor referrals over the next 5 years. As it turns out, what we call traditional word-of-mouth referrals is alive and well, even with millennials. 2/3 or 67% of millennials said that they would first ask someone they knew to find a real estate agent. However, the other 33%, or 1/3, said that they would first go directly online, forgoing the process of asking for a personal referral. And as it turns out, it's not just the 1/3 who are going online to find a realtor. A survey conducted by Zip Realty of 2,500 buyers found that 71% would definitely or very likely do an internet search on what we would call a traditional referral before contacting an agent. What this points to is a kind of 2-step verification process that's changing the nature of referrals even for those who seek out word of mouth first. This new era of referrals puts increasing pressure on the online presence of realtors. This not only has implications for all BC realtors, but also the brokers in organized real estate in trying to best serve agents. For the next slides, we're going to address the following questions based on our research findings. Where do they go online? What do they do when they arrive? What do they see on the page? What information is valuable? And what sources are valuable? It's probably no surprise to anyone that the starting point for finding a realtor online is the search engine. Because of the widespread ability to evaluate service providers across virtually every profession through online tools, real estate buyers and sellers expect to be able to identify the right realtor for them the same way. However, it's clear from our research that consumers are searching for realtors who are both in the top 20% and are aligned with their needs through varying types of specialization. So that might be needs regarding geography, housing type, buyer types, etc. And what we found is that BC millennials are having an increasingly difficult time identifying that group of realtors that they're looking for based on the tools provided to them to find that right realtor match. Given the importance of the search engine, let's dig deeper to understand how real estate consumers typically search for a realtor. The most common terms BC millennials put into the search box is a combination of the words real estate agent plus the given location that they're interested in. In fact, we found that there were 3 times more likely to use the term real estate agent instead of realtor. And there's a combination of these terms with other terms such as performance attributes, MLS, and our agency-related terms that round out the way people are using search. So what does all this mean for realtors and why should you care? Because if you, your service provider, and or your brokerage is not optimizing your online profile based on these types of searches, you could be completely invisible to an entire slice of the market. In the biz, this is called search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Let's take a look at the typical search results that a user might see based on the most common search terms. By using the example of real estate agent Burnaby, someone using non-personal search on Google would likely see the following sites highlighted here in blue. Disregarding the ads, which our research further confirmed most millennials do on sites like Google, the top sites turn out to be Yelp, Real Estate Weekly, REW.ca, brokerage and franchise sites, and individual realtor sites. So the big question you are likely asking yourself now is, where is realtor.ca on this list? The answer is typically that realtor.ca is not in the first and sometimes the second or third pages in these type of searches. Our guess is that realtor.ca is optimized for searches on the term realtor versus real estate agent. And while we recognize that realtor.ca was never optimized to be an agent profile site, there are clear opportunities to improve search engine optimization for realtors and to enhance the profile features on the site. Furthermore, sites such as Real Estate Weekly are actually getting their data from organized real estate at the request of brokers, and thus serving to further undermine the prominence of realtor.ca. And to be fair, all the research points to the increasing use of mobile for property search. Realtor.ca does have both a mobile version of its site and its own mobile app on multiple platforms that have recently been redesigned. Another insightful aspect of the research data is that BC millennials believe that the most valuable sources of information on realtors will be on organized real estate sites, starting with realtor.ca, then BCREA, then regional boards, and then the council. Of course, the irony, which I'm sure is not lost on you, is that none of these sites that consumers believe will be most valuable even come up in the top of the search results based on our sample query. Furthermore, we have evidence from other aspects of our research that with the possible exception of realtor.ca, provincial and regional organized real estate organizations have low awareness to being virtually unknown to the majority of buyers and sellers. So we ask you to consider this question of whether regional boards and BCREA should have a more visible online presence, specifically targeted to consumers, given that the millennials clearly see organized real estate providing the most credible information in selecting a realtor. The next step was to understand once a user has clicked on a page, what information on that page they found to be valuable. And as it turns out, what millennials consider to be the most valuable types of information for selecting an agent are absent from organized real estate websites, such as realtor performance data in the form of ratings, reviews, and testimonials. Zip Realty confirmed our findings that 62% of consumers say that the most likely factor for contacting an agent found online was the excellent reviews posted by real consumers. And even on sites such as Yelp, only 24 of the 116 profiles in our real estate agent Burnaby query even had a review. showing that whether it's through third-party sites or even on our own sites, there's a significant opportunity to increase what we would call realtor metadata. As opposed to the search types you see here in the drop-down menu for under Find a Realtor on Realtor.ca, ORA should consider how it provides for the display fields that realtors most care about in selecting an agent. Conversely, ORE can also take cues from other sites that are attempting to do matches, such as online dating website, who use secret sauce algorithms, or formulas in more common parlance, to make informed recommendations based on the data consumers actually find valuable. And as it turns out, what we've been describing in online search is only part of the story. Based on significant changes in online search engines over the past couple of years, a very few companies control the very nature of what consumers truly see. This is a bit of the Oz moment, where Toto pulls the curtain back and exposes the wizard. We're guessing that a small percentage of you are aware, for instance, that Google has a toggle between personal and non-personal search results, which you can see here highlighted in the red circle. With personal search turned on, it's highly likely that no two people will ever see the same search results. The same can be said on Facebook with their graph search tool. Facebook has an internal search engine that filters results explicitly based on your personal connections. In the words of founder Mark Zuckerberg, graph search is not web search, it's about graphing our own part of the web. In other words, the results each person sees is based on her or his own social network. Facebook graph search even goes so far as to sort people in a network based on their relationship to that person, directly connecting with the research that you see up on the screen that showed that the most trusted sources for referrals are family members and close friends, which is how Facebook actually sorts the findings that you would see. Taken at face value, our research reveals millennials place low value on realtor social media accounts. The question was asked about whether they actually care about, say, for instance, the content of realtors' Facebook accounts or Twitter accounts. And the answer was it's of low credibility. However, what was not apparent to millennials is that realtors' social media accounts are at work behind the scenes to influence those very same results that they see in search. Realtors' actual social media posts may actually be dwarfed by the connectedness these accounts bring realtors in generating leads through search. It's imperative that realtors, brokers, and organized real estate need to not only understand the anatomy of search, but also how their own lead generation practices can adapt to maximize the opportunity. Next, we asked a polling question. Do you personally feel prepared for this new world of real estate referrals? And you'll see that only 25% of the people feel prepared. So this is in contrast to assuming in the first poll that traditional word-of-mouth referrals would increase, which is the majority response that we got. It was clear after presenting all this data that people were increasingly unsure or feeling unprepared as realtors for this new era of real estate referrals. A number of technology companies are stepping in to fill the gaps left by organized real estate and brokers, such as the ability to locate a realtor based on my physical location, which you can see here with Curb Call, the ability to match a realtor to my needs based on my profile, which is what a site such as HomeLight is doing, and surveying technology, such as Real Satisfied, which you see here, that enables me to actually build personal testimonials and rankings data based on my past performance. And the technological innovation does not stop there. For those science fiction fans, a book by Philip K. Dick, later made into a movie by Steven Spielberg, The Minority Report, tells the story of a pre-crime unit who has a visual dashboard to witness crimes happening before they actually occur. Here you see Tom Cruise navigating that pre-crime dashboard. This enables his crime unit to pilot in just before the crime is going to be committed. Well, as it turns out, this concept is no longer science fiction. Companies such as SmartZip Analytics are using algorithms with data inputs from a wide variety of demographic and psychographic factors to predict when someone might be almost ready to buy or sell a home. And then they sell those exclusive leads to realtors based on geography, which they can even do down to the street level. And in a different domain, The big data powerhouse IBM recently unveiled its social analytics tool that sifts through terabytes of public social media data on sites such as Twitter and Facebook to identify high-quality leads. They are even able to craft personalized marketing messages to each lead based on their profile characteristics that person has revealed on their social media accounts through posting. Creepy? Perhaps. Competitive advantage? Definitely. We then turn to ask one more polling question. When deciding whether to work with a new client, which of the following do you consider? 1, value of the transaction, 2, value of future referrals, 3, both, or 4, neither. And you can see here that the majority of people say they consider both, with some saying that they consider neither. And this actually was one of the discussion points in our breakout group when they came back and reported on their findings, is that as it turns out, we talked about that while consumers potentially hold the perception that realtors think about the value, their transaction value and their future value of referrals, this actually is not part of the calculation for many realtors, at least for those that were on the call with us. One of the value propositions of the journey of discovery research is to unveil data by understanding the science behind it, so we can dispel some of the myths driving certain decisions. While we're only going to scratch the surface of the area called referral science here, we want to touch briefly on quantifying the financial value of referrals. Academics have 2 acronyms for the value of a client. One is called CLV, which you see up on the screen, which is customer lifetime value. In other words, how much you will earn from a customer after accounting for the marketing costs to them. The second is CRV, which is customer referral value, which is how much you will earn from the referrals they provide for you after considering the bonuses that you pay out for those referrals. Well, we found in our research that consumers commonly perceive that realtors choose whether to take them as clients based on the potential commission value. Research shows that a client with high transaction value or a high CLV is not necessarily the same person as someone who has a high referral value or a CRV. And with low CLV customers are almost as valuable as those with the highest customer lifetime value because they provide additional financial value through referrals. So what this means is that someone who potentially has a lower transaction value, either because their lifetime transaction values are lower or actually their purchases are lower, i.e. they buy less expensive homes, therefore the commission is less, can actually in some cases be made up entirely by the value that that person brings in referrals. The research also found that clients who come through referrals are not only more profitable than non-referred customers, but significantly so the younger that they are, up to 35% more profitable if they're in the 26 to 35 years old age range. And this is not just calculating because they will be with that person or organization longer as a customer, but it's actually measuring the same time value, and it probably has things to do with trust of referrals, etc. Based on the research, it's important for realtors to calculate both the transaction and potential referral value when considering the total value of a new client. And we'd encourage you to look at this research that's called How Valuable is Word of Mouth, which is linked to here from Harvard Business Review. Undoubtedly, referrals will undergo significant shifts over the next 5 years. We hope this webinar has provided you with a useful glimpse into the future of referrals and how you can maximize the opportunity. Over the coming weeks and months, BCREA will be considering its role in supporting realtor referrals based on these findings. We've encouraged everyone to post their comments about the webinar, this presentation, any questions that you have on the topic to our Facebook page, which is the Extraordinary Moments in the Real Estate Experience. We have also have posting this on the YouTube channel, which is probably where you're watching this now for BCREA, where the other webinars have also been posted. There are many reports that we've published under the Journey of Discovery website, which you can see the link for here, which including a much more detailed overview of this our research exploration into the area of referrals, and that we will be working on strategic planning with in tandem with the regional boards over the coming months in order to understand how all of this research and data should impact the future direction of BCRA over the next 5 years. We want to thank you very much for all your contributions and participation in the journey of discovery, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon. Thank you.